Hi guys, and welcome to Hustlers Hangout episode 3. And this is actually episode 3 part 1, believe it or not. And this week we're going to be talking about, well, firstly actually, as we mentioned in our last week episode, we're actually going to be looking at your comments and answering some of your comments, and then going into kind of how to start up an online digital business, because it's a question we've all received. And let's just get started. So I think the main question we saw a lot of people asking, whether it was in the DMs or in our YouTube comments, was how did each of us start our own businesses? So today we're going to go and actually tell you guys about our stories of how we started out our own businesses and give you some examples of how it all kicked off. And that will hopefully tie into a digital business, because funny enough, all three of us have online digital businesses. But Ozzy, do you want to take it away and start?
Yeah, absolutely. Basically, it's a pretty funny story because all my background is from financial industry, as you guys know. I was working for a financial educational company. I'm a qualified technical analyst. I was actually teaching clients how to trade on the markets, basically, how to analyze markets. I just got fed up of it, even though I was obviously on a very good salary, but I wasn't getting some sense of fulfillment. And I decided, you know what, I'm going to walk away, but I wanted to create something online, residual income, as passive income, as we all actually dream of. I walked away, started an online trading school. But at the same time, when I started online trading school, I had to learn how to market my online school in order to get audience. So I started attending a lot of marketing events. And then I realized I love marketing more than trading, more than teaching how to trade. And the more and more I learned about marketing, and I realized, because we all knew, I'm a people's person. I love talking to people. I love connecting people to other businesses or people to people. And I realized, you know what, marketing is my field. This is something I want to do. Even though I was fairly happy and content, and I met my business partner, Brendan, in one of the events, in marketing events, and we kind of hit off really well. He says, you know what, he had at that time online gadget store, smartcoolgadgets.com, and he asked me why not I would help him to market his online store. Long story short, I've helped him out, created some strategies, e-commerce funnels. He done really well. He took a sale from 500 euros all the way to obviously 4 to 5k per month. Even though it's not huge, it wasn't millionaire or anything, but it was doing okay as a side income. It would still be coming out. And the most funny part is it was all dropship basically. And I'm talking about back in around 2015. And once he see the results, he says, you know what, let's just start a marketing company, web solutions company. And another funny story is when actually I had to teach myself how to build websites, how to do the UX, UI design. And that was another story for another day. That was another hurdle I had to overcome. But this is something I leave it for another day when we hopefully ever talk about the hurdles and the hassle we went through when we started a business and what we learned from it. And that was my story basically. I grew my love for marketing, and now I'm completely hooked with automation side of things and artificial intelligence and emotional intelligence marketing, analyzing, studying audience behavior, why they do what they do. And because I'm also passionate about personal development, and that also align together, because in personal development you also learn about human patterns, like what we go through, what's the motive for our action, and how to break certain patterns and to actually get whatever you want to get or whatever you want to achieve. So based on that, I realized, you know what, marketing is my field. I can analyze audience, and based on that I can tailor all the marketing activities. That's how we started a business, Smart Web Solutions, back in 2000, towards the end of 2015. And now we're on the go for 5 years. We still got clients, and we're still running away, doing very, very good. And I'm very grateful for that. That was my story. What about you, Mitch? and then we will move over to Jas as well. Mitch, what was your story with your online business?
Yeah, before we carry on, guys, I don't like us muting. I really don't like it.
Is it because we're not saying anything?
We're not like, do you know what I mean? This is to everyone out there, right? We're prepared to put in the work to make this audio good.
Yeah, literally.
I do not like this. The reason why we muted, right, was because there was a lot of background noise, just to give the audience a little bit of context. Yeah. But I do not like this. One of us is, we're quiet. I don't like this, right? Because
you
we're
want
not.
to
interject.
Do you see where I'm coming from?
Yeah.
So
it's not the same.
No more muting.
It's not the same laugh.
It's not the same. It's not the same banter at all. Like, I don't like this. Like, we're still learning, guys. Yeah, but I think this is better.
And for all of those,
we'll just put the extra
appreciate the
work
hard
in
work
afterwards.
we're doing with the audio. Everyone that appreciates the hard work, leave a like for us down below. Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah, you better. People don't tell you that editing takes bloody ages, right? Like, but no, this is better. Let's just stay, unmuted, right? This is better. Okay, so going back to the topic, how did I start my business? Yeah. How did I? So, like Jasir said, my business is an online business, like everyone else in this chat. So for those of you who view and you don't know my background, I'm a pharmacist by trade. That's the degree that I did. It's the career that I was working in for a good 5 years. Actually earlier than that, because I was doing like placement work while I was at university as well, but pretty much 5 years in that field. And I worked for a large national chain, Tesco pharmacy, and I was probably one of the few people that got given chances early. I was new. Life is all about timing, by the way, and placement, timing and position. I live in Northampton, which is a town in the UK, which is not a big town, and I was offered a pharmacist job in a Tesco pharmacy here, which I took because I did all my training with them. And then in a very short space of time, I got offered a managerial position because the store had traditionally run on temporary pharmacists, which we call locums. And they were in a bit of a tough spot because they didn't have consistency. Now, obviously, this store being in my hometown, for a company that I was familiar with, and in a pharmacy that was a nice pharmacy with lovely, pleasant staff, pleasant patients, it was a no-brainer for me to take that managerial position and then to progress. And very quickly, I managed to progress up the ladder. And I was on a training program to be a regional manager, where I would look after a whole region of stores. I was already involved in some activities like driving specific KPIs and like targets for the business as a whole, because I'd managed to turn our pharmacy around on a national level. It was recognized that they wanted me to then implement those things in other stores. So there's a reason why there's a long story to this, right? So put it this way, I was very close to becoming a full-fledged regional manager, yeah? At the risk of being controversial, yeah, and at the risk of being, I was doing well, like I was on a good wage, and at that time I thought 50, 60, 70k a year, like you're set for life. Little did I, now looking back on it, I realized that 50, 60, 70k a year is nothing, right? Especially if it's something you don't enjoy. But anyway, I was really close to becoming a regional manager, and the regional managers kept changing. And then the last regional manager said to me, he said, okay, you've proved yourself to everyone else. I want you to prove yourself to me, right? So I got really annoyed. I got really pissed off, yeah. Because the way I saw it was, I'd done so much to literally make this store one of the best performing stores in the country at the time, that I didn't need to prove myself to anyone anymore. I'd done everything I needed to do. I ticked all the boxes, yeah. And it was that point where a couple of months ago I'd had an idea for a business where I basically supply temporary pharmacists to pharmacies through an online service, like an online booking platform, effectively like an agency, but moving into the digital age, because all the agencies were traditionally run on like a manual model. Yeah, it was that when he said that was the turning point for me, and I literally 2 weeks later I handed my notice in, and I took everything I saved for 3 years and I put it all into creating my business, the first MVP platform of my business. And now, 7 years on, after growth, a successful funding round, acquiring lots of clients, we now operate with over 6,500 pharmacies in the country and about 5,000-6,000 pharmacists, locums, that work as the temporary staff for us. So sometimes, you know, you don't want it to be this, but sometimes something negative has to happen to give you the light up the arse to go and do what you want to do. And that was the case for me.
I gotta ask though, like, the 3 years worth of savings to pump it into your business, like, what was going through your mind? I don't know, like, were you second doubting yourself? Were you thinking any backup plans? Like, were you trying to get like a feet in for two boats, or how was it that you just went, just do it? What was that?
So in my job, you can work as an employed pharmacist or as a locum, right?
Mm-hmm.
I left my employed job. I spent the money to build the MVP platform. For that whole year, while it was being built and I was coming up with the ideas and designing it and wireframes and all that stuff, I took a whole year with it. I was working as a locum as well. I was working 7 days a week as a locum. And when I say 7 days a week, I don't mean 9 to 5. I was working 9 a.m. till midnight, 3-4 days a week. Yeah. Recouping that cost, recouping that money that I'd spent. Yeah. Because I was not going to not spend it to not build my dream, but at the same time I was not going to be stupid, and because you don't know if it's going to do well, right? There was no guarantee that it was going to do well, so I had to get that money back. So I was working that job, and I was working 2 other side jobs around that as well to fund my business. And it was scary it wasn't as much scary for me as it was more scary having to validate it and justify it to other people. You know, like parents and friends, like they're like, what are you doing? So that's my online business now, and that's pretty much my full-time job. We've come a long way. Hand on my heart, can I say that I earn more than I probably could do as a pharmacist? Probably not, but that's a conscious decision. I don't take money out of my business too much, right? Was it a bad decision? It felt like it was bad at times, but no, it wasn't. Overall, it's probably one of the best decisions I'll ever make in my life. And do I love what I do? I do love what I do. I couldn't say the same when I was working as a pharmacist.
Okay, very good.
What about you, Jazz?
Mine
Tell
is
us
a bit
about your
boring
journey.
compared to you guys.
Jazz is like, I was in a coffee shop and I came up with the idea.
I'll tell you one thing.
You know what? You're not too far off.
This episode
Really?
is actually... This episode is not enough, like, for his journey. You could go on for days, like.
We could probably do, like, insights for each one.
Okay.
But, I mean, this kind of gives the viewers kind of an opportunity to keep track, and we might give you guys a bit more snippets down the line. So my journey... So my journey happened shortly after I graduated, I guess. I did an internship. So I had a really interesting university life. So my second year of university, I did a business project actually in Malaysia. So I flew over to Malaysia. Wow. We did a project there with a local university and implemented that. In my third year, I did my dissertation on marketing and branding and customer experiences. Then did another business project out in Spain, in Almeria, based on ecotourism. And then straight after that, after I'd finished university, I did an internship in China for a few months. And after I came back from China, this was back probably in 2014, I think I'd like to say. I had two things. One, I had a travel bug. Like, I kind of wanted to explore more and kind of get more experience internationally, because the time I spent in China was just invaluable. It was such a great learning curve. But at the same time, I realized very quickly at that point, it's just like, I don't think I want to work for someone. And at the same time as well, I did, before I went to China, I was also working a job as well. But then I realized, well, I've got this skill set and I've spent a couple of years, whatever, learning from logistics to marketing to branding to sales. I did the whole spectrum, right? And I enjoyed economics, so I kind of had a good understanding of market. Languages as well, I kind of started learning a couple as well. So for me, it was more like, okay, I kind of want to try doing something. Funny enough, a really good friend of mine back from secondary school also had the same idea. He was also trying to figure things out, what he wanted to do, and we met up in a Starbucks, because we used to go to Starbucks to do our dissertations and stuff, and we started playing around with business names and just figuring out what we could do. So my business partner was like, you know what, I'm thinking of starting something. And I was just like, you know what, I'm currently figuring out what I want to do. I'm also looking to apply, at this moment in time, I was actually applying to go out to Japan to work over there. So I was doing my application, this was like in October 2014. And I said, look, I actually had a job offered to me because of my university. There was a company based in Old Street that had already offered me a job. And I went up to them and said, look, I'm applying for this opportunity. In the summer of 2015, I might have to go fly out to Japan if I get it. And I told them, I was like, look, I'm telling you guys, I feel like I'm going to get it. And after that, I was just like, okay. And then, so I kind of rejected the job at that point. I was like, look, if I get it, I get it. I'm going. So they were like, oh no, we kind of want someone to stay on long term. And it was kind of a fast track job. I was like, you know what, it's fine. My heart's not in it. So the opportunity with my business partner, or soon to be business partner at that point, was, you know what, I've got time. I feel like I'm gonna get this opportunity to Japan. Let's just start a business. So we started off, and our main focus was branding, marketing, like physical health and like personal health, as well as kind of like not really meditation, but like reflection. And it's funny because we started off with that as kind of the foundation, and then over the years, so since
these were the industries you were targeting, was it? Or
no, they weren't the industries. These were the principles and the core behind the business we wanted to start. We wanted to.
So you haven't started it yet?
No, so this was the initial in 2014 was the conception of it.
When you were brainstorming
Yeah, but the main fundamentals were, we want to help people, we want to add value, right? How are we going to do that? It's going to be through helping them with the business support, and it's going to be helping them with like the physical health and their mental health, right? So that was always been the heart of what we wanted to do, is like giving real value to people. And then so Rajpal, my business partner, I must drop his name in, he's very creative, so he was very talented in terms of design. Then I went down, I just get stuck into things, so if there's any software or stuff to learn, I can just pick it up quite quickly. I just have to dive into it, and then a couple weeks later I'll get it. So we started doing things, we bootstrapped from, we had no money, right? Because we literally both just graduated and stuff, so we learned all the tricks from scratch, like we made all the pitfalls and mistakes you can think of, and then learned all of our skills set and everything. Then come 2015, I ended up going to Japan. So whilst I was in Japan for 2 years, I ended up learning Japanese. I also started building out some contacts over there as well. I also kind of got into blockchain and tech-related industry over there as well, because that's also kind of a passion of mine. And when I came back in 2017, we were still working on the business as well. So Raj was still going in. I was always giving some advice, and he was able to get some contracts with some musicians through his creativity and through his Instagram channel. So we did like I don't know if any people know, but there's a label called A Visionary, and there's an artist called Logic, and so we started working with them.
Bobby Boy.
And one of his Bobby Boy Records, actually, when it started, another artist under that called Damien, we started working with him. We did the whole Drift Away campaign, and because I learned Japanese at the time, I actually translated one of their promotional tours in Japanese for when they went to Japan. And then that was shared in Japan as well.
Really good.
So that was really fun. And then since then, so it's been like almost, 6 years now since we've kind of been going. And we kind of focus more on now in terms of pure brand development strategy, specializing, I guess, in design, UI, UX, and strategy. Yeah, those are kind of our fundamentals. But yeah, that's pretty much
That's
been.
cool, man.
our
And you
journey,
said
I
yours
guess.
wasn't as interesting as ours. Yours was like 10 times
Yeah,
more
man, this was more interesting
Yeah.
than both of us. I shouldn't have gone first, mate. Mine was so boring.
Yeah,
It was just
I've-
like, just
I've-
get it done and
The
over.
thing
Exactly.
with mine is, the thing with mine is like I've just kind of, if you think about it, just gone straight into business. Whereas yours, I find a lot more interesting because you both were like, you were in finance, right? Having to leave a well-paying corporate job, like there's such turmoil between you because there's stability versus doing something insane, right?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
even for you, Miraj, like you also were in a good position, and then you decided to go all in. For me, that's
Yeah.
terrifying. Like I'm ignorant, right? Because I never had to deal with those types of choices.
Mm.
Which is why, for me, I think for someone who's starting up and maybe watching this video, they probably won't be as crazy as me. Well, I'm not even crazy. I would say I had the least risk out of all of you. I had like nothing, no responsibilities. I was just maybe fresh out, and I was just like, let me just try something, right? If it works, it
Yeah.
works. If it doesn't, it
Well,
doesn't.
you started the right time. Like if I don't have regrets, but if I look back at anything that I wish I could have done differently, I wish I started sooner. I feel like I started too late. You know,
Yeah.
and
Mitch,
it
I
is
was-
difficult. Yeah,
I was
But-
quite blessed because I had a lot of advice like that from people saying that if you are going to do something, start it early.
there's one thing I would say. There's a reason, right? Like we're all in our own journey, right? I'm actually probably the oldest out of all of us, even though I look youngest probably out of us.
we're
but
not that much older.
Yeah,
But I am actually older than both of you. But I actually probably started so later than you, Mitch. You know. But at the
But
same
what age
time,
did you start?
I started when I was actually in this marketing business, which I find my passion, true passion,
Yeah.
6 years ago, and I'm 38, going to be 39. So, you know, so that's why I was 32, 33, like when I started that.
But here's the difference, right? There's something which you can't disvalue, and that's network.
Mm.
No
Yeah.
matter where you start, right? Your network is your wealth. And for me, like even if you start early, you wouldn't have the relationships or the credibility, and it's a lot more challenging, right? Because you really are starting from
Yeah.
zero.
Mm.
Whereas
Yeah.
I think if I went into corporate and I had a wealth of corporate network, like now I've slowly made them, I suppose it's taken me like maybe twice as long as to someone that already maybe had that and was working in a corporate environment or an actual office 9 to 5 environment, right? You build out those relationships with that level of people. So they become your assets when you are starting a new business because you are potentially doing something you already have relationships with or a link with. So that kind of accelerates you to a certain degree.
Yeah.
Whereas if you're
I mean,
starting from nothing,
I think. Oh God. I think there's different ways to look at it, right? So everything happens for a reason. I definitely believe that.
Yeah.
I definitely think it's all about timing as well. But if I hadn't have been a pharmacist, I wouldn't have seen that there's a problem to be solved, which would then, equate to me starting the business that is solving that problem, right? So yeah, I don't think. For me, it wasn't as much network. For me, it was being exposed to the environment that would then eventually help me to create a business. The problem is, and I guess kind of just bringing it back to how do you find like a business idea? Like how do you find a good business idea? The problem is a lot of people, when they start a business, they confuse this idea that you have to do something you're passionate about. Because the thing is, right, you could be super, super passionate about Premier League football, yeah? And you want to be like a blogger for Premier League football, yeah? But you haven't watched a game in your life. You haven't been to the stadium. You haven't understood what players' mentalities are. You haven't understood what this club is planning to do and that club is planning to do. So sometimes your passion isn't necessarily the best choice for you to find a business idea, right? I think it's that balance. It's that, what do you know? Like, what can you hands down say you understand, like how can you formulate that into something that is going to create a business which you're passionate about?
Now, I'm just saying, could person not be passionate about a few things? Like, for example, like, you guys know I love reading books, right? I love learning, I like personal development, but I'm also passionate about marketing, but I'm also passionate about combat sports.
Yeah, I mean, you can be passionate about loads of things, but would you confidently say that in this time right now, of all the things you're passionate about, you could create a successful business from?
Not from everything, though.
That's what I'm getting at, right? I understood healthcare. I love healthcare. I've got a passion for healthcare, obviously, because that's what I grew up in terms of my career. I understood being a pharmacist, but I didn't necessarily enjoy being a pharmacist all the time. And I like innovation. I love innovation and technology. So for me, fitting those together was the logical thing. Let's take you, Ozzy, for example, right? You went 180. You went one career to a completely different career, pretty much, right? You went from trading to...
It was scary, bro. It was very scary.
Yeah, it was scary, but the difference is you had transferable skills, number one. Yeah, I'm right. Yeah, you had transferable skills. You knew how to work in high pressure environments because trading is traditionally one of the highest pressure environments there is. Yeah. And number three, you are willing to put the work in to learn the things you didn't know. Yeah. A lot of people will try and do a business which they have a passion for. They're not willing to learn everything, and that's why their business doesn't do well. So for me, in terms of just getting to that underpinning point, when you're searching for a business idea, this is just my opinion, I might be wrong. I think your primary focus should be looking at something you're good at, like you understand and you're good at, and then developing a passion project around that. Do you understand? Like, not the other way around.
Yeah,
that's me. But you guys go now. I've spoken too much.
It's sound advice because, like, I'm a big fan of tech, right? I like PC component stuff. I enjoy listening about it, learning about it. But I'm not an engineer, and I don't have the foggiest in terms of real heavy technical knowledge to even go about maybe producing stuff or looking at stuff. Maybe I could sell it, right, or promote it, or do whatever. But again, that's in line with my skill set. So it would still be, if I was to ever work with tech companies, and I do, it's always branding and like marketing, advertising, and sales around those products. But it will never be in the development of it because it's not my forte. So you're 100% right. When it comes to passion, it has to have something which your skill set aligns to. And not even just your skill set, but I would also say, probably goes far to say, your network and your kind of deeper understanding. Because like the Premier League example you gave, right, there's a level of knowledge, and it depends on how deep you go. If you have like a shallow understanding of certain things, then you can only go so far. But if you've been in this thick of it and you kind of know what's going on in the background, then I could say, you know what, you might as well, because you know the waters you're navigating, you know what you're getting yourself into. I think that's what makes it a bit more, I wouldn't say easier, but a bit more realistic, I'd say.
Being an expert in your field helps you.
Yeah,
No, go ahead.
100%. And to be fair, if you're starting your own business, you want to be an expert. Otherwise, why would people come to you, right?
Exactly.
Now, I was going to say, it's so interesting to find out, like, obviously, the type of business you're in, Miraj. You don't have, like, I know you're involved in healthcare, and what you studied, it give you a path to design and develop something based around that, but you haven't actually done a degree in tech or anything, you know, the type of business you have.
Yeah.
Jas, after listening to you both, basically, right, now look at Jas, right? Jas haven't done any degree in branding, right, but he's a damn good brand strategist. If I need any branding work done, I approach him. Miraj, you're not a videographer. You've got an amazing YouTube channel. I love your videos. I anxiously wait for your videos every week, you know? But at the
Biggest
same
fan.
time, but you haven't done any course to become a videographer, right?
No.
The good thing, and I tell you what, right? But you guys built your businesses around something that you guys were passionate about. I'm exactly the same, right?
Yeah.
I haven't done any degree about marketing. In fact, I'm a qualified technical analyst. I've done a degree in business management and HR, but it's nothing to do with marketing. But what I love marketing. Why? Because I love connecting people. And I love connecting businesses to people, you know? And I love puzzle pieces, solving puzzles, you know? Either it's about people or businesses, you know? And so we're all working around something that we love, but we actually didn't receive any certificates or diplomas or degrees around it. That goes to show that is the quality of an entrepreneur, because they see things differently, right?
It's really interesting you say that, because when I was actually studying, this was one of my issues, I guess. And funny enough, it was actually going back to our last video when we were talking about mentors. So I had a mentor in Accenture. He was a really, really interesting guy. He's a great guy. He actually graduated in English and French, I think he did, for his degree. And he was working in Accenture. I was like, wait, how does that work? And he spoke to me. He's like, look, let's be real. A degree is there to give you soft skills. So once you've got your degree, you know you're capable of learning and you're capable of delivering this type of information. So when he went into Accenture, they retrained him in IT and in tech, and then got him onto a course and everything else. And now he's an IT consultant, but his background is English and French, I found that, and that's when it hit me. It's like, actually, you're 100% right. Whatever you do for a degree or professionally, or not really professionally in terms of education and academia, it's your foundation, it's your building blocks. It's helping you kind of grasp different thinking, analysis, and evaluation. But the actual learning will only come in the professional world, because it's a totally different playing field. So if you want to be good at something, then you have to hone your craft, whatever that is, right? And academia only really plays a part of teaching you a method of learning. And you can apply that to anything.
Yeah.
No, I
actually don't think degrees mean nothing now.
Same. It's just a piece of paper. But again, this is something we still have to talk about. Do we need degrees in order to make our dream life come true? Do we need degrees? This is something we can talk about in some other episodes. But what are the 3 lessons, guys, we can take away and give it to our audience that how to come up with a business idea? What are the 3 lessons from all of us?
Okay, I'll go first. So for me, it's finding that balance between something you're passionate about and something you are good at, like you understand. That for me is the sweet spot in you being able to narrow down on a good business idea. That was me. You guys go.
Ozzy, I'm still thinking.
If that was an easy way out, wasn't it, Jas?
It's the truth.
And now to Ozzy.
A lot of people don't even know what they're passionate about. They're just looking for Friday to come and then enjoy the weekend and get back to you Monday. And that's the life. I'm not going to speak for everybody else, but that's the life I would hate to be living for myself. Again, there's a lot of people, I'm not actually contradicting, that's the way they want to live. That I'm talking about for myself, right? Number 1, you have to find your passion. And if you're not sure, think about what is the one thing you can do for absolutely free while you have a full-time job that would give you the sense of fulfillment but not give you any money. What's the one thing you can do? You will know your passion then. And once you know your passion, see, like the era we're living in, that is 2021, all sort of courses are available. Go online and see, is there any courses you can do around your passion? And second, have you got time to get good at it? Okay, these would be my points to take away from it. Find your passion. If you don't know, find your passion. If you know about your passion, think about, can you good at it? Okay, And you don't have to leave your work, right? You guys don't have to be crazy enough like us, you know? Just work full time, while part time work on your dream, while you're full time working
Correct.
to pay your bills. Work part time for your dream, for your passion, and see where it will take you. That's my 2 cents, guys, from this video.
Yeah. And not just sorry, just before you jump in, Jazz, not just time. Have you got time to work on it? Are you willing to work on it? But you have to do it. If you want to create your dream, you have to put the work in. Like, that's it. It's that simple.
Absolutely. It's not. It is easy but not simple.
And I will tell you now, it's going to take you at least 2 years as well. So you do have to stick
Jazz,
with
you reach success way before us, man. You get these 2 years in your head. I don't know where you get 2 years from. I'm
need to start following your footsteps.
At least 2 years.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm going to give a different answer to both of you.
Go for it.
And that's because just from experience dealing with other people that always come to me like, oh, I want a business idea. I'm working a full-time job. I'm sick of it. I think people want to be spoon-fed an idea. And it's really difficult to give because everyone's different and everyone's got their own passions. But I would say to you, start simple. Even start trying to buy things for cheap and selling them on eBay or on Amazon. But just start picking up different things and exploring it whilst you're working full-time. You might not necessarily get it in the first one, but you'll hopefully find something eventually that you'll kind of hit with you like, you know what, that actually sounds like quite fun. And kind of explore what's out there. Because I think, and this is an issue I always say and complain to people about, and going back all the way to school and education. No one knows what type of jobs there are around the world. There's some really crazy, amazing jobs, but
there's loads.
No one knows about it. Even to this day, like there's probably jobs, I'm guarantee you there's jobs that I don't even know exist, which I would probably think, damn, that is so cool. I want to try doing that.
Yeah.
But yeah, go out and explore, figure these things out, and just try doing something. If you're totally unsure with it, because it can turn into your passion. I think a lot of people nowadays are just too busy to try stuff. It could be, like, as I said to my friends, just buying stuff online from maybe AliExpress and selling on eBay, selling on Amazon, making a couple bucks here. The thrill of selling stuff can kind of get you that momentum you need to push forward and start a business. And then as you're doing the process, something in that process, whether it's selling, whether it's setting up sites or doing the logistics, might appeal to you. But start something.
So yours is kind of like a trial and test method. So anything you have like a semi-decent like interest in, like even just a little bit of an interest in, give it a go.
Yeah.
Because a lot of people find themselves being good at something just by default, not knowing that they're going to be good at something. They just end up being really good at something, and you might love it enough to not only just be good at it, but to actually create a business out of it. Like, so just try a few. That's pretty cool. I like that. I like that.
Thanks.
Okay, guys. I think we should wrap up this episode. Even though we actually go well above 30 minutes, we're on to 42 minutes. Guys, thanks very much for listening to us, watching us. Make sure to like, subscribe, and comment. And that's pretty much it. And I look forward to see you all, and hopefully we'll bring some more value to you on the next episodes.